Hey everyone, Google just dropped Gemini 3 Flash. It's fast, it's cheap, and it's powerful. But as always, it's best to put it to the test by trying to actually build something with it. And what better way to test it but to make some games? So in today's video, I'll be using both Google AI Studio and their new IDE, Anti-Gravity, to put Gemini 3 Flash through its paces. I'll be showing you how I built this 2D endless runner with just a single prompt. It has visual polish, screen shake, effects, and I tried something harder. I went ahead and built a full 3D shooter arena. It has waves of enemies, different enemy types, full controls, fully 3D, and again, just pretty much with one single prompt. Now here's the thing, Gemini 3 Flash is really fast. But with that speed comes a trade-off. And you will see that if you just blindly try to one-shot games like this, you will actually end up with games that are not that great. They can be buggy, and in the worst case, they can be downright unplayable. But I'm going to show you a simple trick today that helps Gemini 3 Flash to work every single time. And it's all about the context and prompting that you give it. So sit tight as I'll show you how to get the most out of this model, both in terms of speed as well as performance. If you want the exact code and prompts that I'm using today, I've made them completely free inside my Insiders Club. You also get a weekly newsletter and a Notion page that contains a lot of material related to all my videos. And without further ado, let's dive right in. All right, so here we are in Google's new IDE, Anti-Gravity, and it should be very familiar to you if you've used anything like Cursor or Windsurf or even VS Code for that matter. On the right-hand side is the agent pane. If it's not showing for you, you can do Command L and it will show this up. And there are many different things about anti-gravity, such as the agent manager over here. So you can see all of my different workspaces of the different runs that I did before this video. But don't worry about these things for now. The main thing that we're going to focus on is just using it as it is. So I'm just going to drag this over here. And the prompt here is an endless runner where you are a snowman avoiding obstacles in a wintry environment. Now, I'm going to show you what happens with Gemini 3 Flash. As you can see here, this is the new model that they've just released, and switching it from planning into fast. If you just run it just like this, you will see the end result isn't that great. And then shortly after, I'll show you how you can fix this such that you can get much better results. All right, so I'm going to just kick this off. And so here you go. Spend a couple of seconds thinking about this. All right, so here you go. I won't be reviewing the changes here. I'm just going to let it go. One thing you will notice about running it within anti-gravity is that it has this inbuilt anti-gravity browser control. And it's more than just running a browser so that you can check localhost 3000. It enables anti-gravity to perform actions. So I'll just show you here. You'll be able to open the browser, and then it's also able to perform actions such as clicking buttons, capturing screenshots, and retrieving console logs. And this is extremely helpful when you're trying to troubleshoot and debug issues on the fly without you having to take a screenshot and copy and paste things into the chat window over here. Cursor has a very similar system, and I'm starting to see this as a popular thing that most IDEs do. But so let's just take a look at the game that is created now. All right, so you have this Frosty Dash. We're going to click on Start Sprint, and you will see the issue here. And so you can see the game is here. It looks pretty decent at first glance, but you will realize very shortly that the collisions aren't actually working. So this game is not actually playable. And another thing to note is that this game is not very fun because you can see, even though I've been jumping over for quite a bit of distance now, the speed increase is not really tailored towards a sense of progression. It's just really fast in general. So this is the problem when you just one-shot games using a model like Gemini 3 Flash. It can get you pretty close to the end. This is a really decent looking game, but you'll see lots of these little bugs that end up spoiling the experience. So let me show you the solution to this whenever you're working with a model such as this. The key here is that this prompt that we have over here is just too simple. If you're using a much stronger model like Gemini 3 Pro or Opus 4.5, this will probably result in something that looks pretty good and will play very well as well. But this prompt for a fast model like this tends to have little issues with the playability. So the way that you do this is that you want to use something that can expand this into some kind of PRD, product requirements document, or in this case, because it's a game, it's going to be a game design document. And you would have seen this in a lot of other videos where they say the specifications of the app plays a fundamental role and is actually the most important thing whenever you're trying to build an app, especially when you're trying to one-shot it. As you've seen from my other videos, a PRD is always the most important thing whenever you are starting out with a project. So I built a tool specifically to solve this problem. It's called Tiny PRD, and all you have to do is just paste that prompt that you use into this text box over here, and then just click Generate PRD. And while I was recording this video, I realized that games tend to have a different requirement, so you can actually switch this mode into game mode. It's still in beta, but give it a shot because I've been having some really good results with it. So I'm going to click generate PRD over here, and then we'll see what the end result is like. So what you'll see once you click generate PRD is that it's going to look at that and it's going to expand upon the prompt that you have to create something that will be AI ready. And the whole point of this is that it has enough such that it will avoid mistakes such as bugs and make sure that the end state of the game or the app actually will work really well. You can go into ChatGPT or Claude and say, build me a PRD based on this. But the problem I have with when you use all these general purpose tools is that it gives you a lot of fluff, right? It will sometimes say phase 1 takes 2 weeks, 3 days or whatever. And it also misses out a lot of things and it tries to be clever around acceptance criteria and a lot of other things like that. None of that matters in the age of AI. So that's the reason why this one has no notion of timelines, no fluffs. We are AI builders, whether you're a vibe coder or a software engineer. We prompt in seconds, we build stuff in minutes, and we complete features in hours. We don't have time to sit around for weeks and months with all these other PRD generators that don't actually serve this purpose. So if you want to give Tiny PRD a try, head on over in the link in the description below. You get 100 generations to play around with, and I'm still testing it, so give me any feedback that you get. All right, here's the generated PRD that has come up. You can see I'm using GPT 5.2, which is one of the latest models that just got released by OpenAI. And I'll be constantly adding new models as I continue to tweak the system. But here you can see that it's expanded this single prompt that you have into a detailed game design document over here. So it gives a summary, gives technical requirements, game mechanics, and all this specificity is meant to avoid bugs and to make sure that the game is actually playable and fun to play. So you don't really have to read too much into this. All you have to do is just click copy, and then head on over back into antigravity or your favorite IDE, and then you can see what the difference is going to look like. All right, so let's just give this a shot right now. All right, so we're back in antigravity. We're going to change this up right now. So what I'm going to do so that it doesn't contaminate the context as much as possible, I'm just create a new chat. I'm going to delete all of these files over here. I've already made a copy, so don't worry about that. Just swinging back here, just copy the generated PRD, and then we're just going to paste it in here. Okay, so it's exactly the same thing that we're doing, except that now we put the entire PRD that we have over here. So you will see this is going to kick off just like it did before, but now it has a lot more specificity because of the detailed specs that we give here. It's still going to be really fast because of Gemini, because Gemini 3 Flash is a really fast model. The hope here is that it's not only going to be fast, but it's going to be good. And that's the main thing that you want to get out of these models, because there's no point if it's really quick, but you have to spend a lot of time iterating on it in order for it to work well. And the idea here of showing you something that is one shot isn't saying that you should always be one-shotting things. All right, you can see it's already kicked things off. It's so quick. While I was recording this, it's already used the anti-gravity browser in order to perform some of the actions. So you can see I'm not doing anything. The anti-gravity is the one that's loading up the game, pressing buttons in order to check how things are going. Just to show you here, all right, it took a screenshot, right? And it's thinking about what it needs to do. It's clicking the play button. It hit a snag. And like I mentioned before, this is the reason why this is quite useful, because it'll be able to troubleshoot its own errors. And you can see just based on the interim results that things are going pretty well already. So let's draw back once this is done so that we can see the final results. All right, so here it is. It's now completed. It says that the Frostbound run game has been fully implemented. Single file, index.html. It has physics, obstacles, game states, and different menus. And you will see, right, when I compare this later, that this is one of the things that having a spec actually really helps with, because it feels more like a complete game. And the other thing is visual feedback. So there's a squish and scratch, screen shake, and score flashing. Having parallax backgrounds, and I'll show you what this means very shortly if you're not familiar with it, as well as persistence in the scoring. So let's just take a look. You can see that we do have a pause screen if I press P or escape, right? And this time, as you will see, the collisions do actually work, and you will be able to lose the game. And if you recall with our previous one, this was just an endless one. No collisions were working. The jumping just feels very arcadey and doesn't feel very good. Whereas if you look over here, this one has a nice bounce. There's a very subtle animation when it jumps up, and because it kind of squishes. And you will see that these obstacles have some variation to them. The snowballs were actually spinning around. And the idea here is you will see that the visual aesthetic over here is also a lot more consistent. And I'm just going to knock into this. You can see there was a screen shake and the scoring works correctly. The best scores, as you can see in the top right hand corner, is being saved. When I do jump over obstacles and avoid them correctly, the score does flash. So this is a lot more consistent and a lot better. And all we needed to do was to just get this into a spec prompt. Using that same prompt, but putting it into a spec gives you much better results. And like I said, you don't have to use Tiny PRD. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Claude, you can use Gemini. But do note that most of the times they will give you PRDs that are not really suitable for you. So I'm just going to put them side by side for a second. All right, as you can see here, the left one, now you can see there's no real parallax, there's no parallax happening. Look at the background for this one. The mountains are moving faster when they're nearer and slower when in the background, whereas on the left-hand side, the background is static. So these are the little things that help you. You're still using a single prompt at the beginning, but because there's a lot more context and there's a specification, you end up with a much better result. And the fact is that this is actually now a playable game, which you can then iterate upon. So now this is just building a 2D game and a very simple scroller. Let's build something more complex. Let's do something in 3D with more mechanics and see how Gemini 3 Flash does. Okay, so for this one, we're not going to use anti-gravity. We're going to use AI Studio directly. I think AI Studio has improved a lot since I used it, months and even a year ago. So you definitely should give it a try because it's all in one and there's a lot of really convenient things that you get out of the box. At the time of recording, this is right front and center. You can click here, try Gemini 3 Flash. But if just say you're watching this sometime in the future and it's Gemini 4 or whatever, and you for some reason want to try this model, you can switch it over here. Okay? All right, so what we're going to do for this one is we're going to build a 3D game. And the prompt that we're going to use, I'm going to pop in here, a 3D arcade game where you play as a snowman shooting snowballs at incoming hordes of snow-themed enemies in 4 directions. All right, the waves increase in difficulty. You can click and tap or use the keyboard. You can just kick this off right here, and I'm going to run this right now. But let's just see how quick it is over here. All right, so I just kicked it off, and we're just going to let this run until it's done. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and okay, and it's done. 23 seconds, and it's pretty much done over here. All right, you can click on preview over here, and there you go. Let's just close this in the corner, and you can see, here you go. Not too bad, right? It's working. It has keyboard controls as well, and the enemies are coming. So I'm not sure if you noticed the bug, but the issue is that you shoot in 4 directions, but you can't actually hit the enemies. So this is a problem. Secondly, because you can't hit the enemies, you're just basically going to get killed over here. There's no main menu. A lot of these things are missing. And this is just to showcase to you, it's really fast. It got this done in 23 seconds, but the game is not playable. So hopefully this showcases to you why it's really important to give this sufficient context in order for this to work well. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to grab this, okay? And we're going to head over to Tiny PRD again. I'm going to pop this over here and just throw it in, switch this to game mode, and then click on generate PRD. Okay, and it's going to go ahead and kick off. This should be completed in a couple of seconds with a full PRD for us to review. Okay, all right, so here it is with the generated PRD. You will see that this is a game design document. It knows that this is game mode. This was the prompt that we used, and here is the full PRD that was generated. It gives you a summary. It gives technical requirements. It's going to use Three.js. It's going to use a CDN and a singlet file. It gives exact layout requirements, player specifications, physics values so that it feels great, and a lot of information about the enemy types, how they're going to look like, and how collision and scoring is going to look. So what you can do here is just simply copy the generated PRD, go back into AI Studio, and this time rather than doing it within the playground, you can go into build. Okay, so make sure that this is Gemini Flash preview. And the reason why you want to do it in this mode is because you will be able to deploy the app almost immediately. So I'm going to click this here and you can press Command Enter. This will kick this off. You will see that this will definitely take longer because you have a much longer prompt. And you don't have to worry about it because Gemini 3 has a 1 million context window. So this is totally fine. The main thing here is that we want to see if this gives us an end result that is actually playable, looks better, feels better, and is an overall better experience. As you will see over here, it's running for more than 50 seconds. The previous one took 27 seconds, but was not playable. So if you think about it, you're going to be spending a lot of time iterating, prompting, getting it to work. It's much better to have a much better prompt up front, such that you end up with a better game. And the thing about talking about AI Studio is that you can save the app, you can download it, you can connect it to GitHub, and you will be able to deploy it as well once this is done. The only thing that you miss here, as you will see, is that it doesn't take screenshots of the game, it doesn't click buttons for you. So that's one of the reasons why anti-gravity can be a better option. But if you just want to build things very quickly and prototype things, AI Studio is perfect for that. All right, so here we are at the end of this thing. You can see that it ran for 190 seconds. And then it spent some time fixing errors for 74 seconds. So altogether, just a couple of minutes. It is longer, but like I said, our hope here is that the game is a lot more playable and doesn't have any of those bugs. So I'm going to click play here, and you will see I can move around this time. So even though the enemies are coming at different angles, I am going to be able to hit them. So this is a much better experience, and you will see that the game looks better. there are all these little polish effects. So when it hits and destroys the enemies, you can see those little particle effects. When I'm moving around, you can see the snowman also tilts in 3D space, and it is getting incrementally harder with all of the enemies that are coming in based on the waves that we get. Okay, so you can see that this is looking a lot better. The health system and everything is working correctly. And I'm going to get myself destroyed, but I think you can see the screen shake is also working. You will see when he knocks into me, there are also health particles, and you get a game over screen. You also have the persistence of the best score that you had and the highest weight that you achieve. So all in all, this is a much better game experience. It looks better, it plays better compared to what we saw with this one, where the game is pretty much unplayable. It looks pretty good, but inconsistent. And the most important thing is that it's buggy and it's not complete. You can't actually play this game. So hopefully this has shown you the power of Gemini 3 Flash. It's extremely fast, but also what you need to do in order to get the best out of it. It's all about the context and the specifications you give to it. The more you give, the better it performs. And you might take a little bit more time, but you get much better results. Okay, so this brings us to the end of today's video. Things are moving really fast in the AI world. Google is definitely pulling out its punches with Gemini 3 Pro and now with Gemini 3 Flash. It's extremely fast, it works very well, but remember, you need to make sure that you give it good context so that it maximizes what it's going to be able to do. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on notifications so that you'll always be the first to know when new content like this drops. And if you haven't seen my previous video where I reviewed GPT 5.2 and created an entire arcade simulator with it, you definitely want to check out this video over here. All right, so till next time, I'll see you.